We're live.
Now we're live. Hey everybody, Tyler Florence here. Welcome to Wolf It Down. Thrilled to be with you this week. And as always, we're here in the studio with Matt and Amanda. Hi everybody.
Hey
everybody.
How's it going?
I am back from the dead. I feel so much better. So I am post 1 week after my second Pfizer shot. And I got to tell you, I feel 1,000% better. So thank you everybody who was listening last week that was just like cringing. My wife was cringing listening to the podcast.
You were better than you thought you were.
Whew, oh my God. Well, I was having to plow through it, but I am back from the dead and I feel like $1,000,000 and thrilled to be with you guys this week. Welcome to Wolf It Down, our weekly little jump into the kitchen of all things that's happening in the food world. And we're just having a silly good time making all kinds of fun stuff. And man, we're
doing a lot of weird stuff today.
Yeah, we got a lot of weird stuff coming up. We're trying to piece the whole thing together into one really good episode for you. But man, we're going to be eating cocktails.
No, we're not going to be eating
We're
cocktails.
going to be drinking cocktails. We're going to be eating tacos and cocktails. And then also a little bit later, we are going to be answering some fun fan cooking questions. I popped up this little thing on Instagram story yesterday. And if you haven't had a chance to ask us your cooking question, please feel free to. And we are going to post the Wolf It Down studio hotline towards the end of the episode. So stick around for that. And we're giving away t-shirts, which is kind of fun, right? Yep. So if you ask us a question, leave us a message on our hotline. And if we listen to it and we answer it, and man, do we get some doozies this week, you win a Wolf It Down t-shirt. So all kinds of fun stuff.
You get an answer to your question and a t-shirt.
You get an answer to your question, you get a little bit of fun airtime, and you get a t-shirt to rock.
Just like Oprah.
Just like Oprah. You get a t-shirt.
You get a t-shirt.
You get a t-shirt. You get a t-shirt. But yeah, you guys thirsty? I'm so thirsty. You ready to make a cocktail?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So when it comes to cocktails, obviously there's a whole world of different options, between vodka and bourbon and gin. But have you played around with like low alcohol cocktails using specifically distilled infused water?
I have not. I've messed around with like soju cocktails.
Those are
and
nice,
things
yep.
like that. But no, I haven't messed around with.
I haven't really either, but
water.
I feel like it's kind of my jam.
It's kind of your jam because, like,
Yeah.
sometimes I like to drink and sometimes I don't like to drink, but I'd like to keep the party going, and I don't want to sit there with, a Pellegrino or a glass of water and look like a nerd. I actually want to have something that feels like I'm enjoying myself. Because as soon as you walk around a cocktail party without a beverage, everyone's asking you why you're not drinking today. Right. Why you're not drinking? How come you're not drinking?
You pregnant?
What are you pregnant? I'm like, I just don't feel like it tonight, man. I guess I'm getting old. But anyway, I found this really kind of fun stuff that I'm going to make you guys a really lovely Pomerol spritz out of. Now, Pomerol, of course, is an alcoholic beverage, but really super low alcohol. Aperol, right? And but I'm going to be making it with this really kind of fun stuff that I just stumbled across about 2 weeks ago from a company out of British Columbia, Canada, called Amos, right? And this stuff is
like the restaurant in Copenhagen.
Exactly, right. And then this is a distilled non-alcoholic spirit made with water, and it's got juniper, coriander, orris root, angelica root, lemon peel, cardamom, sorrel, cucumber. My wife says
like a lot of the botanicals you commonly find in like gin, but without the alcohol.
See, I think it tastes just like non-alcoholic gin. My wife says it smells like soap.
Okay, because I love gin, but I'm not a soap person.
Right. Well, this is kind of like
to eat
somewhere in between. Like if you like really good smelling hand soap, that's kind of what this tastes like, but doesn't taste like soap.
You're really selling it right now.
No, but you gotta try it. I gotta tell you, I like this so much. I subscribe to the monthly subscription drops. I'm getting a bottle of this at my house every single month because we've been kind of burning through it.
And I feel like I saw this on like a gift guide or something last year, and I tried to get it, and you couldn't get it. So I'm excited to try it because it was like people were wanting it, and it was all the rage, and now you can get it. So I'm excited that we have to try it.
All right, so team, this is the drink I'm going to make for you today because you're my friends. We're going to make an Aperol Spritz, which I think is absolutely delicious kind of by itself. But
It's the best ever.
Yeah, especially on a hot summer day.
Oh my God, in Italy.
Yeah, it's so nice. So we're going to make an Aperol Spritz, but using the Amos as like a nice water balance. And then we're going to top it off with a little bit of Pellegrino for some bubbles and a squeeze of lime.
I'm so
Sounds
excited.
good.
This is what I made last weekend. We had some people over, and then everybody else was drinking like a vodka drink, and I was drinking this, and I felt great.
Right. I mean, I felt great the next
Yeah.
day.
You feel good the next day.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. So you guys chat amongst yourselves.
I love it. And
we're making drinks.
So this is your eat drink stream this week.
Yes.
Yes. Matt, what's yours while Tyler makes his drink?
We had the chance to go dine at a restaurant, the whole family.
What a novelty!
And also not just any restaurant, like some friends of mine. They're kind of a team. They reopened their restaurant for indoor dining, and so we kind of went to go see our friends and watch them in action.
Amazing.
And I think the highlight of the whole trip was my 1.5-year-old daughter crushed
I saw that on Instagram.
half a dozen of raw oysters on the half shell.
Yeah.
Just crushed them.
It's the best.
She loved them.
That's a big deal.
It is a huge
It is a big
That's
deal.
a huge
And you
deal.
know what? You got to start them young.
Yeah. While her sister sat there eating French fries, looking at her like she was crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll take one.
I love it. I love it.
And as with a family of kids, you always get one really good adventurous eater.
Yeah.
Like Dorothy's my adventurous eater.
She'll try stuff.
She'll go anywhere with me.
I also think, though, they go through phases. I think both of my kids were super adventurous, and then they get older, and then they're like, wait a second. I don't want to eat that. What is that?
I'm worried that she's gonna take some cue from her sister and be like, oh, she's not eating.
And they
it, so
do.
now
They
I'm
definitely
not gonna eat it.
influence
Yeah.
each other. That's
But
for sure.
for now, small victories.
Yeah.
Especially when they go to school, right? I think that a lot of picky behavior happens when a cool kid gets known for not liking something particular.
Right.
Then nobody likes it.
Right. Of course. That's how it all works. And it's very frustrating. As a parent, I'm like, you liked that last week.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
wrong?
But so-and-so said it was gross.
Yeah. Totally.
So it must be.
Right.
Well,
What's yours?
I went to a restaurant too this week.
Nice.
I went and tried the new Restoration Hardware Cafe. Have you been up there yet?
In Corte Madera.
In Corte Madera?
Yeah, Tolan says it's
The
amazing.
new that
It
build out they
is-
did at the mall.
Gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous, and the vibe is great. It was not cheap, I will tell you. We were all sitting there being like, "Oh my god, we're gonna come back here every week. The menu's perfect. We want to order everything." And then we got the bill, and we were like,
$1,000.
"Oh, okay. We're not gonna come every week." But I had this one appetizer that was fried artichoke chips, which it was they took the little inside pieces of the artichoke and fry them individually, in their individual leaves.
Oh, cool. Do you still kind of eat just the?
So you just ate it almost like they were Brussels sprout chips, but they were just little pieces of artichoke,
Nice.
dipped in aioli, and it was delicious.
Doesn't sound like a bad time.
It wasn't a bad time. So yeah.
So, all right. So what we have here,
It looks like an old fashioned almost.
it does, right? So we have Aperol, we have the Amos Botanical Water, and then I'm just going to top it off with a little splash of Pellegrino, so you get a little bit of bubble in there and some lime juice.
Love it.
This is what I drink. Yeah, we had some friends over this weekend. We sat outside. I had 2 of these. It was great.
A couple summers ago, when our family was in Italy, back when we could do that kind of thing, we would every night go to one of the piazzas somewhere, and we would sit out. My husband and I would have Aperol spritzes, and the kids would just go run and do cartwheels in the piazza. And I was like, life does not get better than this.
No, that's great.
Right? You got some potato chips, some olives, and some Aperol spritzes.
Yeah, we found
and
this
the kids
place
away from you.
2 years ago. We went
Thank you.
to Florence, and we found this place right next to a piazza, the same, but had amazing Negronis.
Yeah,
Like
it's the
sitting
best.
outside.
Oh,
the
how
great
much do you
Negroni.
miss it?
Oh, every day.
Cheers.
Just traveling.
Wait, are you not having one?
Yeah. I'm totally having one.
Oh, okay, good. Wait, do we get to try it? It's such a pretty color.
Yeah, go ahead. Cheers. Dig in.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Tell me what you think.
What is your viewpoint on clinking glasses versus not clinking glasses?
You know why
For
you do
cheers.
it?
Why?
Ooh, that's really good. It's really good.
Isn't that really good?
Make 2 more, please.
So the reason why you clink glasses when you cheers them, and I don't know if this is true or not, but a good bartender friend told me this once, is because drinking a cocktail, you invoke basically all the senses except for sound.
Interesting.
So that's how you incorporate the sound.
But I've also heard that it's either you need to clink everyone or you need to clink no one. That it's bad luck if you're at a big table with a lot of people and you only clink a few different people.
All right, so take this bottle and then open it up, and then I think this is the find of the century because I think it makes a really, really delicious cocktail that tastes like something. Isn't that delicious?
It's so good. It's so refreshing. It's kind of it definitely tastes a little watered down in general, but I don't mind that.
but
No.
it's refreshing.
It's
The nice
super
bitterness
refreshing.
from the
Aperol. Yeah.
And there's that, God, what am I trying to think of? The name of the flower that I'm tasting.
Elderflower?
No, they make tea out of it.
Chamomile?
Chamomile.
Yeah.
I taste a lot of chamomile in it.
Yeah, definitely. And you get that nice
There's also
grapefruit punch.
I feel like there's almost a little bit of
Apple.
anise in the back too. Is there any anise in there?
It rolls. I mean, this botanical right now, it's got 25 things in it, right? Apple, mint, cucumber, parsley, sumac, rosemary, thyme. Anyway, just stumbled across the stuff this past week. I think I saw it as an ad on Instagram. No joke. It looked really great.
Well, it's also it's a beautiful gift. It's a nice. I mean, I definitely saw it at first on a gift guide, and it's because the bottle's so pretty.
Yeah. Delicious. Nice low alcohol cocktails, perfect for the summer. Just made you guys a delicious Aperol spritz using this stuff as a base. Super duper refreshing, low alcohol, really yummy. Great for the season. I'm
you
down
know what?
with it.
I'm feeling a shift because in our past few weeks of Eat, Drink, Stream, we've mostly been streaming and watching and listening and hunkered down. And this feels like it's spring and we're sipping and we're going out to restaurants and something feels a little different.
Yeah, this is good.
Is that good?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. And then as far as podcasts, other podcasts I've listened to, because my commitment to my children on a daily basis, it's not a lot, but it means something to me. I take them both to school every day, right? So I'll take Dorothy to school first, and then I'll loop back around, and I'll scoop Hayden. And if I get 10 minutes with them a day, and then I'll see him at night, of course, right? But then there's a lifetime of experiences in between 8 o'clock in the morning and 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And Dorothy really likes to listen to the daily podcast in the New York Times. She kind of starts to crave it, right?
Me too. I love it.
Love it. But then what I'm really into right now, have you heard Smartless?
No, I haven't.
The new podcast with Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes.
Oh,
and
you
Will
sent that
Arnett.
to me the other day. I didn't have a chance to look at it.
Oh my God. Is that funny?
Good banter.
Amazing banter. The three of them just rip each other to shreds, but in a way that's so incredibly funny. It is the funniest podcast, and they've had Stephen Colbert is the latest guest they've had on, and he just shreds. Right, it is so funny, straight off the top of his head. He is such an entertainer, so good. They've had George Clooney, they've had Kamala Harris, really big, huge A-name celebs. But if you haven't heard Smartless, listen to it. It is a good time in the car. So Dorothy and I are crushed on that too. It's good.
Awesome.
Great. Love that.
All right. So we have our cocktails. Let's get our tacos.
Okay. So tacos. Now we've been talking about this almost since the very first podcast.
Week 2, I think.
Week 2.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, tell me all about it.
All right. Well, I mean, it's kind of the new Korean food, Korean barbecue. It's the new ramen. It's the new trendy kind of
here's the
ethnic
thing.
food.
I feel like it's not even that it's necessarily new. I feel like here's what happened.
It's not new at all.
It's definitely not new at all, obviously. But to the Instagram world, I kind of feel like what happened was that it got really popular, right before COVID, the year before COVID. I remember when Tyler, when we were filming The Extra Mile in LA, I was like, oh, you got to go get some Birria Del Res tacos.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. We were talking.
And that
about
was
that.
and then COVID hit, and so we didn't hear about it for a while. And now all of a sudden, the past few months,
Queso Birria everywhere.
everywhere.
Everybody's talking about it, right? So these are very, very specific, kind of wet, moist, delicious tacos that almost kind of feel somewhere between a Mexican French dip, right? Mm-hmm. You know,
it is. So they come Birria basically could be. It's usually goat, but it could be beef. It could be mutton. It's braised down. It's rubbed with spices and then braised down in a broth, and kind of shredded, right? And so it's usually eaten. It comes from the state of Jalisco, and usually eaten around holidays, a celebratory type of thing, weddings, anniversaries, christenings, things like that, baptisms. But they've kind of made this blend, these street taco queso birria, blending Oaxacan cheese, that super melty Mexican mozzarella, essentially.
Totally.
In
that TikTok Instagram cheese pull.
Yeah. In with the traditional 2-shell corn tortillas on a flat top, so they get kind of crispy. The cheese gets all melty. They top it off with lime, chopped onions, cilantro.
Oh, and Amanda, I've got your baby taco with no cilantro.
Yeah, we got one special.
That's how I like it.
And then
your little baby taco.
It's embarrassing to order. I'm like,
hold
can
the
you
cilantro.
just give me one?
Yeah, she was like,
side,
I have
please.
your one taco, no cilantro on the side,
and
all by
everybody in the
itself.
shops are looking at you who? What gringo ordered that?
I know.
So when it's traditionally served, they pull up some of the consommé that that it gets cooked in, and you kind of just dip it in there. So it's like this street taco French dip thing.
Greasy, brothy,
Cheesy,
deliciousness.
And if you're watching this either on Instagram television or on YouTube, and if you haven't, I'd totally check it out because we have a video version of the whole thing. We got like a nice little plate on our brand new kind of sexy food cam, right? So you can kind of see the setup. But I think this is like the next big thing. If you haven't really had it, and I haven't, so honestly, I'm trying this for the first time. I know this has been a thing, but it's COVID and I don't get out much. But I'm super pumped about this.
Yeah.
So if you really want to jazz it up, pour a little bit of that chili oil in it.
So chili oil on top or in the consommé?
In the consommé.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got a little float already. So the chili oil goes in on the consommé?
If you want. You don't have to.
No, I want, bro.
You got to do it like it's meant to be. And I do think, this is this is another one of those dishes.
And the consommé.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
This is another one of those dishes that historically it's like, depends on who your grandma is. It's a little different, right? So it's like every family has a different recipe and you probably think yours is the best recipe.
All right, so both of you went out today and got these. Where did they come from?
Well,
so
Amanda?
Mine came from Tacos El Patron. And it's in the Mission, and it is. I think it was one of the first ones in San Francisco to be doing this, and so where you could actually get the quesadilla taco, and they don't actually sell it as a quesadilla taco; they just sell it as a birria taco, and you can add cheese. So you have your pick, but that's it. Like There's all these different recipes now and kind of mashups of the birria became really popular, and then the birria ramen and the birria loaded fries and all different kinds of things. So
the place I was originally going to go to in South Sacramento is called La Sobrecita, and I was really excited to try them out. I haven't been there yet, but they do. Yeah, they make like birria pizza, birria ramen, bunch of like really fresh agua frescas. But they were closed. They were sold out, so they're not opening till Saturday. However, I went to another
I gave you
kind
one
of
plate.
semi-famous spot.
Cilantro all over it.
I don't know, dude, but this looks like cilantro to me.
Just eat it.
Wrong plate.
So I went to El Cora Birria. It's inside the Choice Market, which is essentially a gas station. But they are just slinging up some really, really yummy tacos and burritos and all sorts of good stuff there.
Awesome. This feels like it's like an accident waiting to happen on my lap.
Yeah, I'm putting my computer down.
like you're gonna own this all day long,
huge,
right?
like once this consommé spills.
You want a towel? Let me get you a kitchen towel.
Once this consommé spills,
it's
done.
It's everywhere, and then those jeans are ruined. Hang on a second.
Wait, so this is yours, Matt, that I'm eating, right? Yeah.
All right. So
really
quesadilla tacos from San Francisco, and I feel like the West Coast has kind of put this on the map, right? I feel like this is kind of West Coast centric,
It definitely. So the place that I wanted you to try a couple years ago was Teddy's Red Tacos in L.A.
Yeah.
Was it Ted's Red Tacos? Teddy Vasquez. And he, I think, kind of just like, oh my god, this is spicy.
Wow.
Woo. I'm getting some heat.
There's the cup behind you. There's like green salsa in it.
I think he was kind of one of the first ones to bring it to L.A. and then
Yeah, I just listened to a podcast the other day of how this guy in New York City, he opened up his restaurant with basically like $10,000, and he comes from like Michelin star pedigree background, but basically opened up a deli selling quesadilla tacos, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
That is so incredibly delicious, right? And the beef is braised and shredded and melty. I've obviously got a mouthful of it right now. And the tortilla, the corn tortilla, is soaked in, obviously, I think the drippings and the juice from the beef itself, right?
Yes, and then it goes on the flat top. So it gets dipped and then
And then griddled.
Then griddled, yeah.
Right. So you really kind of cook it in. So you got some texture on the outside of it.
I feel like the other ones are flour. I'll be interested to see.
These are flour?
No,
These
I
flour
think
corn. These
no,
are
but
corn.
I only got one. Are you guys have both?
Okay, this one's flour because it's a little
Yeah.
crispier.
I
think the ones you brought, Amanda,
The ones I brought are flour.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that I had a cilantro free one in there too, but it did not end up on my plate.
I don't know where it is. There's a whole box of stuff right here. I like the flour better.
Better?
I do. It's crispy. Need a towel?
Here.
That's your cilantro free?
Right?
Cilantro free. Amanda Gold is cilantro free. And blue cheese. And what else? She's got a list. That's great. I love that. Like, no joke. These have been hot for a minute. It's the first time I've had one.
There's really nothing not to like shredded meat, brothy.
It's
tortilla.
awesome. Yep.
Yep.
I love
Good
it.
stuff.
It's all the spots.
I think
Spicy.
the flour, yeah, because there's a nice chew with the corn, but there's a snap with the flour. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Delicious. Yeah, look at that. And you get
There's a lot of beef in this taco.
And you get the donkey moment too. Watch this. I'm going to the sexy food cam so we can get the donkey dunk, right? Oh yeah. So juicy.
Did you get beef?
I think so.
Okay. So the ones I got are goat.
Oh, you got goat.
I got goat and goat Jew. Or
Don't tell my wife that.
I was just gonna say. Now you tell me.
oh, you don't like goat?
That's on her list, bro. Goat, blue cheese.
No, honestly, goat is not on my list. I wouldn't. So goat cheese is on my list.
Okay.
You don't eat goat cheese.
I think
I
goat
know
cheese tastes like
A barn.
barnyard on a hot day.
It does. It tastes exactly what it smells like.
Yeah.
And we have goats, so I know what that smells like.
Yeah. So no, I'm not really a goat person, but
Well, there's so much stuff in the news, man. Do you guys want to go through the news?
That's the pickle jar mystery.
you
So
go.
there's this pickle jar mystery in Missouri, and there's like this off ramp of the highway, and like right at the off ramp, there's been this jar of pickles that have been sitting there for like 9 years
The jar of pickles has been sitting on the side of the highway for 9 years
on,
in Missouri.
on like the divide
On a dark desert highway.
in Missouri,
Cool wind in my hair in Missouri.
and it's like survived like storms and tornadoes and everything, and then anytime it like moves or whatever, like it instantly gets replaced. And it's not always the same brand, it's not always the same size jar, but it's in the exact same spot. It's like,
and it's like totally
and
unspoken.
nobody knows
ta-
who does it.
This is like the pickle monolith out in the desert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, and so it's like it all of a sudden disappears, and people will be like, "Hey, the pickle jar disappeared," and then like the next day,
It'll pop back
it'll
up.
pop back up.
I think we got to put a game can out there, right?
Yeah, right.
So it's like
It's just
Catch
like Sasquatch.
Catch someone in the act.
the pickle Sasquatch out there in Missouri replacing the jar. That's really funny. Isn't it weird how like people have like the weird little customs? You know what I mean? Like
I guarantee you too.
Yeah.
Like there's people who are like dare their friends to try a pickle. Right? Like there's
like,
definitely
you
like some
gotta- you
high
gotta
school
eat one.
boys that are like, go try the pickle.
You gotta eat the pickle.
you got to eat the pickle, or you got to steal the pickle.
You gotta steal the pickle. Well,
Right.
yeah. But
Yeah,
then somebody replaces it. It's like not
Right.
even that fun.
Right.
If you steal the pickle, it gets replaced.
Yeah, but you have the last pickle jar that was out there on the side of the street.
Right.
That's your trophy.
Right.
You had like
Yeah.
2017's version of the pickle jar.
But what if it's like jars of pickling fluid doesn't have pickles in it?
That's gross.
What, like all of a sudden, oh cool, that's one of those like little jars of pickles I've heard about you when you get on close
It's just a
inspection.
jar of yellow liquid.
With like shoestrings are floating around in it. Something disgusting. Oh my god, it's great. love it.
And then what else? Oh, the seafood thing, which was kind of an interesting
Yeah.
story about like 13 things you shouldn't order in a seafood restaurant, which I always think is such an interesting
That's a
topic.
big number.
It's a big number. And there's a lot of stuff in there that honestly I wouldn't even really want to get into because, you know, there's so much stuff that you shouldn't be eating that's on the endangered species list. And
Yeah, it's kinda
that's
like,
just
duh,
like
you just
research that
shouldn't
you
do
should
that.
know that. Yeah. But there were a few interesting ones in there, like calamari, fried calamari.
Don't hush.
It's the unhealthiest thing you can
Why
eat.
you got to do that?
Not just across the appetizers.
Like the whole
across
menu.
The whole menu.
The whole menu.
The whole menu, right?
Yeah.
Are you saying fried calamari is more caloric than a big greasy cheeseburger? There's
A
no way.
plate of fried calamari and vegetables. I don't even know if they're fried. A plate of fried calamari and vegetables at Red Lobster. And granted, we know the portion there is going to be bigger than one might eat.
Yeah, it feeds a family.
One
It
might
feeds a
eat.
small
But
village.
it's 1,800 calories.
Sure.
Which
for
is like, you know, for a regular
For 5
sedentary
pounds of
adult, is like,
calamari.
that's your calories for the day. Enjoy
Right.
your calamari.
I think I would.
Or coulamari.
Don't even go there.
What's calamari, Matt?
Don't even go there because we're talking about the 13 things. You never want to eat a seafood restaurant, and calamari is probably one of them. Go ahead and say it. You want to say it.
So
What
there's
is calamari?
it's like 4 or 5 years ago, there was this like
and
NPR.
where the hell are you getting this information to, by the way? Because I want to know the storyline from this. Like,
There's
tell
an
me what
NPR article.
Yeah, you gotta give us some quotes on this stuff. Like, so
We need a source.
Yeah, you got the source, especially for the 13 things you can't get at a seafood restaurant. Because that's like, is that half the menu? That's got to be the menu.
I mean,
That's like the whole menu.
All right. Well,
Isn't that a good cocktail?
I'll tell you about it if you want.
Cool.
tell us.
Calamari?
What is calamari?
So
So
wrong answers only.
like, oh God, like 4 or 5 years ago, there was this article on how like really low end restaurants would try to like save money,
really low
save
end.
money on seafood, and they were buying pig rectum and washing it and then slicing it into rings and frying that and selling it as calamari. So it's culo.
Well, there you go. Now you don't have to eat fatty calamari.
So
if
you can eat
so it might
pig
be pig
rectum.
rectum.
Is it less caloric though? Can you save a couple of calories here and there? Can I? Is there an option on the menu? Can you have like fresh, Pacific calamari, deep fried and delicious with tartar sauce, or can I get pig rectum? Save a few calories, save a few minutes on the treadmill.
Just as much tartar sauce.
Maybe it's
Tartar
a
sauce.
delicacy somewhere.
all right.
Oh, gross. Okay, next subject.
Next subject. Okay. All right. So what? Tell me. So just make sure it's not like an urban legend. That's a thing.
I'm gonna look it
That's
up.
an NPR
I mean, it has
article.
it has a
I don't want to
name.
make it up.
It has a name. Calamari.
Calamari. Yeah, you could just Google search calamari. You can Google search anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other
Do
one
that.
that I thought was interesting was that snapper is like the most like you think you're eating snapper, but often it's replaced with something else that you don't know. So like you order snapper, you're like, oh, I really like snapper, and then actually it's tilapia, which is gross.
I could see that, but I can definitely taste the difference.
I don't,
can for
and
sure
you know
taste the
what?
difference.
And like I don't. This feels
Especially
to me
if it
like
gets
it would not
blackened.
happen here.
If it's
like,
blackened, you would never know the difference.
No,
right?
never.
Because you just bury.
there
it
was
in
something.
spices.
Speaking of blackened, there was something about catfish in there too. That like you
Sure.
don't always know where that catfish is coming from.
It's probably farmed.
Yeah.
Right.
And then also,
Are you looking this up?
Some of the searches that are popping up on this is hysterical. Like, is calamari really pig rectum?
That's like secondary questions.
Or like this article, the imitation calamari controversy, real or hoax? Is that calamari you're eating or sliced pig rectum?
Question mark. Question mark. Question mark.
I might never eat calamari again.
I'm gonna crush a plate of calamari.
That might
out of
have done it
spite.
for
I'm gonna
me.
eat the whole
Here's
thing.
a Huffington Post article on it.
Right.
Yeah. Imitation calamari investigated by This American Life suggested to have dubious pork-based origin.
Dubious.
Dubious
Dun dun
pork-based
Dun, dun, dun.
origin. That's a really polite way of
Yeah, to
saying
say
pig
rectum. Oh my gosh. Dude, how you do? So what would be the process on that, right? Because basically it's just sausage casing, right? Unless it's, but that's a little further out towards the end.
Yeah,
the end of it.
that's
There's
intestines.
the tail on one side. There's snout to tail, right?
Well,
so this is the end of the tail.
So I've cooked it.
Pig rectum?
Yes,
Why?
because there's
Because it was
there was an
cheaper
event.
than calamari.
There was an event called like Offal Day, and all the chefs in the area had to cook offals to show. And so that's because of this article had popped up. I was like,
That's what I'm gonna
let's
do.
make calamari.
I'm making calamari.
Yeah, so I brought in. I will tell you, not enough washing of it, or brining it
Can make the
could
stink go
make
away.
the stink go away.
Oh,
Right.
stop.
Well, we
Oh
have
my
a pig.
God.
We have a pet pig, and I gotta tell you, she's a sweetie pie. She's a little on the dirty side. You know what I mean? It's like, so I just don't know. I mean, and
You think?
And
I mean-
I'm still crushing pork chops. I'm still crushing bacon, but like, oh my god, she's she's a little bit of a mess.
Well, I'm
Anyway,
really glad we went
I'm
down
so
that
glad
road.
we went down that rabbit hole.
How about those animal rights activists
I'm
that are
so
going to just
glad
love this
we
show?
went down that. Hole.
Anyways, the
That
only
hole.
other one that I was going to say that I thought was interesting
That hole?
was
That hole.
That hole.
That hole. Yes, that rectum
That
of a
big
storyline. Rectum of a podcast story.
Rectum damn near killed him.
Can we just go back to the calamari? You started this, by the way. Amanda, you're the one that
Stop.
started
Make it
it.
stop.
You're the one that started this
Make
because
it
like
stop.
13 things you can't eat at a seafood
right.
restaurant.
So the
That's
last one I'm
whole
going to say,
menu.
I'm moving on.
From what to what?
I'm moving on.
Cite your source.
This
Cite your
is
source.
well, okay. So this goes
Where?
back to like the Anthony Bourdain days, right? You shouldn't eat seafood on a Monday because you're
Okay.
getting the leftovers from
Yeah.
the weekend.
Which is the 1999.
same, right? But the same goes for you shouldn't
Specials.
eat the seafood special.
Yeah.
Because
Don't
they're
eat the
just
seafood
cleaning out the fridge.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's
Common knowledge.
A little bit, right? Maybe like a medley of seafood and like cream sauce and fettuccine.
Did you ever watch that movie Waiting?
No.
And they're doing like a staff lineup, and then like right at the very end, it's like, oh, and push the fish, it's about to turn.
Oh, please. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on down.
All right, let's move on from old
Speaking
seafood.
of moving on down the food chain.
Yeah.
You got any more stories?
No,
Or what?
hotline.
The hotline?
Let's do hotline.
All right, cool. Yeah, so gang, this is kind of turning into something that I think we could do on a regular basis because obviously you've been listening to the podcast for the last like 9 weeks now. It's our 9th podcast.
9th week, wow.
9 weeks of us having a good time. We're kind of making it up as we go. And I think it's fun. There's so many different things in our world that's super duper structured and, with like television production and commercial production and cooking videos and all that kind of stuff. It feels nice just to make something that just sort of kind of free form. So we started this thing last week, actually a couple of weeks ago, but we hit the gas on it this past week where we were encouraging you to leave us a cooking question on our Wolf It Down podcast hotline. So get a pen. I'll give you a second to get a pen. Okay. 415-539-8871 is the number. Now, if you leave us a message, right, and you got to leave us a message because some people decide to skirt it this week and send us a text, although we had some good ones, we might let it pass. If we read your question on the air and we got 3, right, we'll send you, not only will you get the answer, right, of your cooking question or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a cooking question. It could be a wacko question, right? The crazier, the better, right? Make it fun. Put your back into it, right?
Yeah. And we'll pick 3.
We'll pick a couple.
Although today we're doing 3 from the voicemail, but we've got a few texts too that we'll read.
Yeah, we're gonna, because this will be the first time we're
Get
doing
to
it.
as many as we can.
Yeah, we're gonna go deep with it this week, but you're gonna get the idea. We'll send you a T-shirt, right? We'll send you a brand new Wolf It Down T-shirt, 100% organic, butter soft cotton and sleek black. And when you leave us a message, make sure that you give us enough information where we can get in touch with you, and we'll call you back. Amanda will call you back. Somebody will call you back.
Me.
You will get a call.
So you will get a call from somebody in our group, and we will get a T-shirt back out to you right away. But we got a couple of doozy questions. And I think this is going to be kind of fun. So we have Bluetooth this into our whole system so everybody get a chance to hear it. And all right, here we go. You guys ready to do this?
Question number
go.
1.
Okay, this is from a fan. It's from Jocelyn in Livermore, California.
For the Wolf It Down fan question. My name is Jocelyn Benson. And my question is, I know that Tyler got some cowboy cauldrons recently for his backyard, and I was wondering what he's been barbecuing on them, and also if he has barbecued any sweet dishes or like desserts that's kind of unusual. I kind of want to know about that too. And I am from Santa Cruz, which is about 70 miles from Walnut Creek. All righty. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Jocelyn. So she's about 70 miles from Walnut Creek. I don't know why that's important, but she's in Santa Cruz.
Not Livermore.
Not Livermore.
Not Livermore. Santa Cruz. Well, she's got a Livermore number. I don't know. It's a complex story.
Okay.
If you look at her
Bay
Facebook
Area.
profile. Bay Area.
Bay Area.
Yay
Local.
area. Okay, so true. I got a cowboy cauldron. As a matter of fact, I got 2 cowboy cauldrons for my birthday. My lovely wife just insists that I'm really hard to shop for. I would kind of agree. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I've collected some good stuff. I like good stuff. I don't really have a lot of stuff, but the stuff I have I think is pretty nice. And this is one of them. And if you haven't had a chance to look into cowboy cauldron, Google it, look it up. I think it is a spectacular outdoor barbecuing experience. It's also a really cool fire pit that just looks amazing.
Kind of like a hanging fire pit, right?
Yeah. So it is and they come in like different sizes, right? I've got the biggest one, and I'm believing blanket on the name of it. It's called like the ranch hand or something like that. But it is a It's a cast iron steel cauldron pit that's hanging from a tripod, right, that you put in your backyard and you fill with either charcoal or wood and you literally grill over top of that. And it feels like you're cooking out on the plains in like a cowboy, chuck wagon kind of cook along thing, right? It's super duper dope.
New York City
out there with your cowboy cauldron. You. But it's great. I love it. And so I've cranked it up twice since I've had it. And Matt and I got a chance to cook for my birthday, which was so much fun, right?
Yeah, that
and we
was
had,
great.
we had porterhouse, and we did chicken, and we did sausage, and it comes with
oca.
hooks and stuff. The oca was kind of fun, which is like
we
this
hung
new-
some like Romanesco.
Yep. I got a chance to kind of roast and get nice and toasty over top of it. So definitely, and it kind of feels like this like Francis Melman, Argentinian, Americana kind of cooking style. Super duper cool. Absolutely love it. But to answer your question, love the Cowboy Cauldron. Are we cooking sweets and desserts? And I don't know if I'm a big fan of that kind of thing, to be honest with you, right? Like I would put it in a pan and cook it outside and kind of get some of that smoky flavor. But I don't know if I'm into like grilled peaches and grilled watermelon and grilled
I like grilled
pears.
pineapples.
Grilled pineapples are good. Yeah, I anytime I do like usually like my go-to like open fire dessert, I do a really good like peach like a peach cobbler in a Dutch oven.
In the Dutch oven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're almost like using it as an oven, but it's just got that a little bit of that smokiness.
Yeah,
right?
that I like. That
Yeah.
cooking it outside over the open flame. I think that's kind of cool. I just don't know, because it was like really big when I was a kid, maybe like in the 80s and 90s, like grilled peaches.
Grilled apricots.
I was like,
a
yeah.
mascarpone.
Yeah.
You know what I do like to do sometimes, because I love doing toast out on the grill, and so sometimes I'll do toast and then like melt some really good dark chocolate on there, and then like a little drizzle of olive oil and sea salt.
Well, that just
And
sounds
it
like a
gets,
fancy s'more.
A little smoke. Well,
It's a fancy
Well, then she
schmancy.
drinks
No marshmallow.
her peach
No, it's
Pepsi.
sort of like like it's like a little Spanish, right? Just that like olive oil, salt, chocolate,
like
pan
con tomate, but
pan
like
con chocolate.
pan con chocolate.
I had that in Spain. One of my trips to Barcelona. It was kind of like one of those moments you go to a tapas bar and it blows your mind. It
So
was like,
try it on your Cowboy Cauldron.
no, you can't do that. But chocolate mousse, right, with olive oil, sea salt, and potato chips.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Explosive. So delicious. But that's a good question. Congratulations, Jocelyn. You get a T-shirt. We got a sound effect for her?
Shirt.
We got to see you got a fun like cheer and applause for her or what? Yay! Congratulations, Jocelyn. You get a T-shirt.
This is an important message from AT.
Okay, sorry, AT&T. Here we go. All right, so this is the next one. I hit the wrong thing.
Bizarre and random, obscure culinary question here. During the Tyler's Ultimate Cooking Series, you used to use these like cast iron sheet pans. They looked like heavy metal black sheet pans, and every time you'd use them, you'd get these like crazy hard sears on things. And I've never found them in any store, at any restaurant supply, anywhere. But every episode, you used to pull these heavy bottom black sheet pans out and do these amazing things with them. And I've never ever been able to find them. Totally random, bizarre, and obscure culinary question. Sorry. I loved that show, by the way. You had the face of a baby. Anyway,
Excellent. Thank you.
thanks for playing. Hope you can answer this question for me. It's been burning for years on my mind. Thanks.
All right.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, bring it home, baby. Long time listener, first time caller. Okay, so didn't catch your name, guy from San Rafael, but thanks so much for the message that on a 1 to 10, sort of like, I'm not going to say creep factor, but I just said it.
Did that strike a nerve with you?
I don't know, little bit.
Was it the baby face mention?
Maybe,
or
but-
just the tone?
Start eating the microphone. Anyway, whoever you are, you didn't give us a name, but I appreciate the call. So what he's referring to, right? So Lodge, the 100 and plus year old American cookware company that makes cast iron pans, right? Like the kind you cook over a campfire, the kind your grandmothers used to make cornbread in. They also make these really long, elongated cast iron flat slabs, right? That on one side, it is a smooth surface for pancakes. And on the other side, if you flip it over, it has ridges that looks like a grill, right? So
And they're great for like if you live in an apartment, right? And you don't have a grill outside, right? Or you don't have a patio to put a grill on, that you can throw that on your stovetop
Yeah.
and get it ripping hot. and still get like grill marks on something.
You get good grill marks, right? And that's kind of what it is. Right? So for on television, we would use these things and would cover 2 burners. That's how long it is, right? It's long enough to go from one end of your stovetop to the other, covering 2 burners, right? And you can kind of put it on like medium or medium high and have like 2 cool hot spots on the ridged side where you can actually take a marinated chicken breast and get those cool lines that look like a grill.
It's like your indoor grill. Yeah.
It's like your indoor grill. It's great.
Yeah.
It's definitely, so open up a window, turn your fan
But the
on.
flat side's great too for like cooking eggs in the morning.
Yeah.
It's a griddle.
Yeah,
It's a good griddle.
I
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
have one on my current stove that has I have a middle burner that's kind of an elongated burner, and it came with it. That it's sort of this like custom shape.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Same
people
thing.
make those. A lot of different companies make
Yeah.
them, but he's referring to it kind of looks like a sheet pan.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're kind of going back, so it's been a minute, right? But it's like this like really great and I think I have like 2 or 3 at my
if
house.
you just Google search like cast iron griddle, stovetop griddle, you'd find a bunch of them.
Or just go onto Lodge's website. As a matter of fact, I think we'll put the link in the show notes down below if you're watching this on YouTube and on Instagram TV. So it'll be a direct click and a link so you can go check it out. But yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it's kind of an obscure piece of cooking equipment that
But it's a good one to have.
It's a great one to have.
Yeah.
I really like it a lot, especially if you have a small space, if you don't have a grill, if cooking outside is kind of hard to do, it's a really good effect. But it does get smoky. Open the window or definitely turn on your hood system over top of your stove. Good question. Yeah. Congratulations, 4 and 5, Sam Rafael guy. You get a T-shirt. You get a T-shirt.
I think you were just about to say his number.
No.
A butter soft T-shirt.
Butter soft
Butter
T-shirt. Long time listener, first time caller. Okay, great. So our next caller is somebody from Anaheim, California. You're up.
I'm calling about the Tyler Florence contest where he wants to submit a question. My question for Tyler is, what is the biggest influence you have gotten from Italian cuisine that you use yourself? Thank you.
Fantastic. And leave us your name, or if you don't want to leave your name, it's okay. But we want to give you a shout out. We want to send you a shirt. Maybe I wasn't clear in the post. I probably need to be clear in the post.
Yeah, I think you know what I thought about that today.
Yeah, because
We've got a lot going on right now.
We
missed some details. Like, if you want a T-shirt,
if you want
need
a T-shirt,
to leave us your information.
Yeah. So in the future, again, guys,
but he won the contest.
You did. Well, we'll text you. Somebody will text you. We'll text you, and we'll make sure you get a T-shirt out to you. But it's 415-359-8871. And I think if this kind of becomes a thing, maybe we'll do this every week. We'll give away T-shirts every week. It'd be kind of fun. So Italy in general, I always feel like when I run out of gas, right? When I'm out of ideas, when I've written a cookbook and, I've everything in my brain that's current and fresh and bubbly and hot is sort of out there and I need some new inspiration. I need to get inspired again. Italy is my place, right? I always go there just because like the cuisine is so ancient, it's so old, and it's so effortless and just there, right? But they put so much thought into it, and not only the cooking technique, but the ingredients and the sourcing, where everything comes from. Because in Italy, fast food is slow food. You can get a panini on the highway at like a little small gas station, and it has 24-month-old buttery soft prosciutto with the best pesto you've ever tasted on really good bread, and it's griddled and good soft cheese, and you feel like you're in heaven, right? So I think Italy to me is super special. I did get a chance to stage there. I worked in Italy for a little while in my early 20s in Florence. I got a chance to stage with Fabio Picchi at Ciabreo, right? As a matter of fact, he is actually featured in Stanley Tucci's new series on CNN, Searching for Italy.
Which I still have not had a chance to watch.
Yeah, you haven't watched any of them yet?
To.
You haven't watched any of them yet?
No.
Right. So I had it on the other day, and my wife walks in the room. She goes, I hate that. I'm like, why? She goes, we're not going anywhere this year, and it just makes me mad.
Yeah, I
right?
know. I kind of feel that
because
too.
it is travel porn. It is food porn. It is at the highest level. CNN, man. They did such a great job. And Stanley Tucci is such a great, because he speaks fluent Italian, and his parents are Italian on both sides, right? So he's got a real deep connection to the region. But anyway, it was good to see Fabio on the show. I just like, there's only 5 episodes. You can crush them in a night. Like to me, like that's just part of my rootstock when I make decisions on cooking. And when I start thinking about food, it's like, a little bit of my Southern upbringing, a little bit of the refinement of working in New York City for 15 years. And then, especially being out here in California, because I feel like there's a kindred spirit of California cooking to Italian cuisine. And it's just sort
so
of
ingredient like focused, right? Like it's just the art of simple cooking.
exactly.
If you have good ingredients, let them shine.
But you know what? If I had to answer that question for you, like the one thing I hear you refer to time and again,
ad nauseum,
that never happens, is like a panada.
Sure.
Right? Which I feel like, and like the cooking the onions to go in the meatballs, or but not putting raw onions into meatballs or meatloaf or anything like that. Like that, I always feel like you talk about came from.
Yeah. So, in that recipe specifically, again, a benchmark recipe inside the company, right? Like when we craft recipes, if they hit the pinnacle, if we think that this is as good as it gets until we reinvent it, it's what we call a benchmark recipe, right? And so our benchmark meatball recipe, which also tiptoes into meatloaf, because meatballs are sort of like meatloaf adjacent, right? You can kind of use the same recipe and reshape it. Uses a panada, and that particular cooking style came from one of my trips to Naples, right? Shooting with Food Network a long time ago, where we got a chance to work with this woman who had a cooking school in Naples, and she taught me that amazing trick where, you know, a lot of American cooking styles, especially when it comes to like meatloaf, they call for like dried breadcrumbs to, you know, absorb it or kind of tighten the whole thing up. But I think that makes your meatloaf or your meatballs dry. Where a panada is basically fresh bread soaked in milk, and that soft bread extends and softens the protein, where you can kind of create something that has almost like a pate kind of vibe to it, right? Mouthfeel, it's super duper soft. And then our particular recipe adds caramelized onions and garlic and Parmesan cheese and chopped parsley and salt, and then coarse black pepper to it. And that alone is just, oh my God, it's the best. So I think Italy's incredibly special. I've been all over the country many times, and I cannot wait to go back. I cannot wait to go back. But check out Fabio Picchi on Stanley Tucci's Searching for Italy. It's such an inspirational episode. This guy is just such a genius, crazy genius, right? And he makes these textures of food that kind of feels like baby food. Like his sauces are just extracted, right? And so cooked down and reduced, and you taste like a porcini sauce for a pasta, and it has this like no texture to it whatsoever. It is so refined and so smooth, but it's the most intense flavor of, say, porcini you've ever tasted, and you feel like you've had these like light bulb moments of like, okay, I've now really tasted food, and now I've really tasted Italian cooking. So that was good. We got a couple of text messages too. You want to read them, or are you guys out of gas with this? This is fun. You having a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Hey, Tyler, cookie questions, plural, right? This is more like Matt. Hey, Matt. What really is the optimal chill time for dough? Obviously, cookie dough, right? How long is flour at its best in the pantry? And then why does dough run and you get flat cookies sometimes? I think that could have, it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Multi-part question.
I think we get.
Question.
And then, there's a fourth part of the question too.
Okay.
Which is?
Do you use parchment every single time? So, what's the ideal chill time for dough? How long is flour good for? Why do you get flat cookies from time to time?
Yeah.
And why does your dough run? Right. Well, you better go catch it. And then, do you use parchment? Go, Matt.
Okay. Chill time for dough. Recommend for cookie dough, especially because you don't ever want to really over mix cookie dough, right? You don't want to make you don't want to form glutens when you're mixing flour into cookie dough. You want it to stay nice and light. Otherwise it'll kind of turn your cookie spongy or really like kind of denser. So,
or tough.
Yeah. So you don't need to rest it as long as you would for like a pizza dough or anything like that, but a minimum 10 minutes in the chiller kind of allows those glutens to kind of relax a bit to where you can scoop them and bake them.
Yeah, and it also lets the flour absorb the eggs, right? If you're kind of mixing that together.
Yeah.
But see, I also, when I'm making chocolate chip cookies, I typically will always let my cookie dough sit in the fridge for 24 hours just to like get a more caramelized flavor. Like I just feel like it deepens the flavor of the dough.
And why do you say caramelized?
Not caramelized, but like, I don't know. I just feel like it has a richer flavor. Like it almost feels like whiter flour, white sugar, You can
definitely go overnight. You can even freeze it. I'm just saying like a minimum resting time, 10 minutes to 20 minutes.
But I'm saying ideal time to me is to like let it sit there for a while and develop a little bit of a richer flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually like the technique of toasting your flour, right? So you can take flour, put it onto a sheet pan, and brown it before you make cookies for an extra nutty flavor, right? And that's a very, very old technique. I actually learned that in culinary school, and I just remember that after 20 plus years. I just whipped that out.
Do you have a light bulb sound?
Go make some. Next week, I want you to bring them in your Tupperware.
Yeah.
My wife loves your Tupperware, by the way. She's like, oh man, is Amanda bringing the Tupperware? I like that. That's a good. So that's a 4-parter, right?
Shelf life of flour,
Sure,
I would say 6 months.
Tops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months.
And if you open up your flour and you see like little things crawling around in it,
It's time to go.
it's time to go.
Calamari.
Calamari.
That's your breading.
If you see a couple of calamaris floating around and your flour, time to move it on down the food chain.
As far as cookies spreading when you're baking them,
And I think that's annoying sometimes too, because like sometimes
this is like multiple things at fact.
Sure.
Because you're are you scooping them or baking them from cold, right? Or are they room temperature?
What do you recommend?
I like scooping them from cold or even frozen.
Sure.
Yeah. But if you scoop them from room temperature, they might spread more.
Yeah, but you would need to then adjust your bake time, your temperature possibly.
Yeah.
Also altitude, big thing, like the wetness of the cookie, the amount of leavening. All those things come into factor if you are like tweaking your recipe, right? Like, you know, if
And
you
like a butter to flour ratio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so fat can make it spread, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wetness can make it spread.
And
if you got a really
leavening.
soft cookie, and leavening, right? And specifically baking soda, not baking powder, am I right?
Both.
Okay, so if you got too much leavening,
Yeah, I mean, if you have too much leavening, they can rise and fall and
Sure.
like spread, or they won't like set early enough in the bake process, and they'll spread before they actually do set. Because you want it to you want to set the shape and then let it bake.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to see the cookie.
So to answer your question, we can't really answer.
No.
your question.
I think it's great. So
it's a lot of factors.
But
So,
it's fun to tweak all that stuff and
Yeah.
play with it and figure in, like, that's how you hone in like your cookie recipe.
yeah, I was going to say a lot of people like a flat, crispy cookie.
Yeah.
I don't happen to be one of them.
well,
but a lot of
I
people
think
do.
I think you answered the question. Is like why does dough run and you get flat cookies sometimes?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go. So
And
you answered that.
always parchment.
Always parchment. Always
Yeah.
use parchment.
Always use parchment.
Yeah, parchment or
Silpat.
Or
Silpat.
Silpat,
Yeah,
yeah.
Silpat's my jam. Like I walked in the kitchen last week, and Dorothy was baking something straight onto. She was making cookies, some TikTok thing or other, whatever it was, right? And the cookies were sticking, and I'm like, have you seen these things? We have 10 of them rolled up just where you got the sheet pan from. It's called the Silpat. I pulled it out. I'm like, it's made out of silicone. It goes up to 550 degrees. Like nothing will ever stick to it. So, and that's kind of like one of those things that you should always have in your kitchen, regardless if you have parchment paper or not.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go Silpat before I go parchment paper.
Interesting.
See, I buy the pre-cut parchment paper at my
Me too.
house because I hate tearing
Same.
it and then having to cut it
Yeah,
to
to me
the
it's
shape
like
of my
it's
sheet
like
pan.
it's like two different animals.
That's why
like,
I go
like
Silpat.
a roll
Silpat's
of
already-
parchment paper I
Yeah.
want nothing to do with, but
Ooh, I hate
parchment
it.
Because I
sheets
also
are
like the
best.
pre-cut parchment paper because I sift all my flours in my dries, right? And so I sift it over that, and then I
Yeah,
can just pick
pick
it
it
up
up.
and then fold it into the.
That's why I like
mixer.
Yeah,
a
and
good
then you just get-
Silpat
and then
because
you
it
can just-
fits your sheet pan.
Right, but then you got to wash your Silpat. Whereas
So
the
what?
parchment you can just toss.
You toss the parchment.
Toss the parchment.
Yeah,
Toss
goes into the ocean. It's fine.
Whatever. All right, so I think we got one more question because I like this one because I think it's kind of like one of those things that's so simple that a lot of people talk about or think about, but may or may not do. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. So, do you really need to wash your chicken before cooking? Do chefs? Question mark. Right. So, do you really need to wash your chicken before you cook it?
What do you think?
To me, like,
I was just-
well, I always
'Cause
I always inspect my chicken, right? I always
give it a rinse.
I always
and
give
I
it a
always
rinse.
brine my chicken too. So.
Yeah, I may or may not brine it, but I'm gonna inspect it, right? And I always kind of give it because I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like, have you ever seen chicken get processed?
Yes. Okay, but here's what I'm going to say.
Have you ever seen chicken get processed? I'm not trying to gross anybody out,
No. I mean, I don't know that I've like ever been in a chicken processing plant,
right?
but I certainly
That would
like,
be a good podcast.
I grew up that like you always rinse chicken. Like I have an image of my mom like leaning over the sink, washing the chicken, drying the chicken. But at some point, I heard that it actually, by doing that, you're like sending bacteria all over your kitchen. And that obviously you're not going to eat the chicken raw, so you're going to cook it. And as soon as you cook it, you're killing anything on there anyways. But by rinsing it, it's like you get bacteria all over your sink.
And so to me, and obviously salmonella is a real thing. I'm not saying it's not, because when we do our live cooking classes, we always use what we call a protein board. I try my hardest, and even at home, to never put raw chicken on top of my wooden surfaces, because it's really, really hard to clean. And sometimes I don't want to super duper scrub my nice expensive, walnut cutting boards, right, and just bang them up. So we have a plastic board that's cheap. You can get it for nothing on Amazon, and that's what I put raw protein on. But when it I think people think that raw chicken is way more dangerous than it is, right? Way more dangerous, because here's and everybody's right here, right? Like if you can bring that up to north of 160 degrees, you've killed all the bacteria. You're super duper safe, right? And then when it comes to like washing the surfaces, as long as we have a metal sink, right? It's just sort of, you kind of give it a nice little rinse. I don't mean drown your chicken. Don't drown your chicken. Right, but I like to give it a little rinse with cold water. Yeah, that's just me. Get a little pat it dry,
and then sanitizing your workspaces afterwards.
Sure.
See, I think I'm one of those types of people who doesn't. I mean, I'm fine. I make chicken all the time, but I definitely was one of the people who didn't love to deal with raw chicken, and so actually not having to wash it feels like it's so much less handling.
Yeah,
like I'll open the package and I'll salt and pepper the tops, sometimes still in the packaging.
Sure.
And then I salt and pepper the other side once I put it in the pan. And so I don't have to handle it that much.
I'm going to invent like chicken gloves, right? Donna.
But then you got to wash your
I'm going to get chicken gloves. No, they go straight in the garbage can. It's like you put them on.
Like your parchment?
Like your parchment
made out of
paper.
parchment.
Yeah.
Parchment
chicken gloves made out of parchment paper. Boom, boom. Touch the chicken. Straight in the garbage can. Right.
And if you have a wooden cutting board, if I may add something, to clean it and sanitize it without having to scrub in all the cracks, you wipe it down with hydrogen peroxide. It kills all that bacteria instantly.
Also, salt.
Salt does a really good job. Yeah,
I
moisture.
Like
you want to get rid of the moisture.
Bake tops, right? There's big wooden baking tops that we use as our workspace in the pastry kitchen, and we would just throw salt all over them, rub salt into everything, and let it kind of cure overnight. Yeah, and then it just kills everything.
What's the bleach to water ratio? Is it 20-1? Something like that for sanitation class?
I think
so.
Quick.
I think it's 21 to one cap to half a gallon, whatever it is. Anyway.
The parts per million.
Anyway, super exciting. Maybe we should have saved that question.
cut that, Nick. Cut that out.
What a good way to wrap up.
Yeah.
But man, did we have a good time this week or what? We had cocktails.
Lots of weird topics.
We had tacos. We talked about pig rectum,
pickles, pig
rectum, the mystery pickles.
That's going to be the title of this. That's going to be
Pepsi and pig rectum.
That's going to be the title of this podcast.
Episode number 9. Wolf it down, everybody. Guys, so I really think that the fan questions, we want to keep those going because I think it gives us an opportunity to kind of hang out with each other. We obviously don't broadcast this live. We tape it on Wednesdays and then we pop it up on Fridays. So 415-539-8871 is our Wolf It Down hotline. Leave us your culinary question or just leave us any kind of wacky thought off the top of your head. You never know if we're going to play it, but I do know one thing for sure. You're going to want a t-shirt, right? So you want to get those questions in, and we'll pick it up next week. It could be kind of fun. Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Were you not entertained? Right? Is this a good way to kind of kill an hour in your car?
Or kill your car in
an hour. Either way. Guys, thank you so much for listening to Wolf It Down. This podcast was produced by myself, Amanda and Matt, and Nick and Jello. Thank you so much, Don Miggs, and the whole damn mess for our original soundtrack. And thank you so much for watching and listening. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, a couple of things. You want to subscribe, and you want to smash that like button. It helps out with the algorithm so more people can find it. So if you're listening to this on iTunes and also on Spotify, make sure you tell a friend about it, right? Because it's getting sticky and a lot of people are talking about it and we're having fun doing it. And thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week on Wolf It Down.